Today on Deep Dive, we're going to be looking at DC Comics Showcase number 41. Can Tommy tomorrow survive the Planeteer Academy? Find out in today's issue. Hello everyone, my name is Devin, also known as DH Artist, and welcome back to my Deep Dive series. Today's issue presents the origin story of an early sci-fi hero named Tommy Tomorrow. While he first appeared in issue number 6 of the 1947 series, Real Fact Comics, he was retooled for this series after an almost 15-year hiatus. For those of you familiar with the Kamandi series that I've been covering, I recently discovered that DC created an alternate version following the aftermath of the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event. When the great disaster that created Kamandi's world didn't happen, the boy who would have grown up to become Kamandi instead grows up to become Tommy Tomorrow. Pretty interesting. Oh, and shout out to the user Poorly Drawn Beagle for sharing that info with me. Now with each book you can expect their conditions to vary. Today's issue is in good condition. While there's some wear on the cover and spine, there won't be anything to detract from the artwork. If you enjoy these types of videos and want to see more content like it, check out some of my other deep dives. I've covered issues like Black Hawk number 125, Superman number 75, Tales of Suspense number 55, and Avengers number 8, featuring the first appearance of the time-traveling villain, Kang the Conqueror. For a complete list of my videos, visit the organized playlists on my channel. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single video. Showcase number 41 was published in November of 1962. Executive editors were Murray Boltinoff and George Kashdan. Cover artist was Lee Elias. The story titled Frame Up at Planeteer Academy was written by Arnold Drake and penciled and inked by Lee Elias. The book consists of 32 pages with a cover price of 12 cents. Our story begins as a class of rookies gathers outside the Planeteer Academy, or as it's more commonly referred, the West Point of the solar system. After addressing the new cadets and distributing their uniforms, the revered space sergeant begins the first class, multiple marksmanship. He explains that there will be a variety of simulated targets, and the cadets will have to correctly identify which weapon to use. He then selects Tommy Tomorrow to go first. The first simulated target to appear is a Saturnian Scorchbear, and since the beast possesses elements of fire, Tommy correctly uses his CO2 foam gun to douse the flames. The second simulated target is a Martian Quill Thrower, and again Tommy correctly uses his Magno Ray to repel the beast's metal quills. For the third target, a Saturnian Flying Eel, Tommy reaches for his anti-electron gun, but instead when he uses his CO2 foam gun, it only strengthens the beast's electricity, ultimately causing Tommy to fail the lesson. Returning his weapons after class, Tommy discovers that he was issued 2 CO2 foam guns instead of an anti-electron gun. Unsure of how this could happen, Tommy dismisses it as a bad break. A few days later, the cadets begin their next lesson in the Great Arena. After being paired together and choosing their own weapons, Tommy Tomorrow and Cadet Lonvirian enter the simulated cosmic chamber. Our two cadets find themselves in a simulated world known as Asteroid 9Z. When Tommy tries to warn Lon of the dangerous plant life around them, Lon disregards it, explaining that his father first explored the real asteroid 9Z and he doesn't need any help from Tommy. Suddenly, Tommy comes face to face with the living gems of 9Z, and as it reaches out to grab him, Lon incorrectly fires his Verbo Ray, trying to help him. Since the living gems reflect vibrations, it bounces the ray back to its source, knocking Lon back. Just as the creature grabs him, Tommy quickly tries to use his bottle-marked acid, but when the liquid has no effect, the sergeant quickly ends the simulation. With another lesson failed, Tommy inspects his acid bottle, only to discover it was just distilled water. Unsure how he could make two simple mistakes, he finds a discarded acid label outside the cosmic chamber, meaning that someone tricked him into choosing the wrong liquid. Later that night, unable to sleep, Tommy discovers that Cadet Lon Virian's bunk is empty, so he goes to investigate. Checking the flight test room, Tommy finds Lon Virian sabotaging one of the control panels. Deciding to leave it be, he plans to report him during class. The next day, as the cadets fly simulated flight tests, Lon Virian skillfully passes his with flying colors, but when the sergeant orders Tommy to fly next, he reveals that he found Lon Virian tampering with his controls last night. After a quick inspection, nothing seems to be out of order, and thinking that he's just trying to frame the popular Lon Virian, the rest of the cadets don't trust Tommy. Time passes quickly, and soon the cadets find themselves ready for their final lesson. Since Tommy and Lon Virian are tied for top student, they're both chosen as team captains, and after the sergeant assigns those teams, they march into the auditorium. The Academy Commandant explains that the two teams will be competing to find the Stone of Kashdan, and once they reach the undisclosed site for the competition, the team that finds the stone first wins. The next day, both teams are placed on a distant asteroid, and as Tommy's team gets started searching, Lon Virian's team finds that their equipment has been sabotaged. Believing that Tommy is to blame, they quickly assemble a reconnaissance rocket and track Tommy's location. They then quickly head off to ambush him. Some of the fun advertising found within this issue is a house ad featuring the Atom, Hawkman, Aquaman, and Metal Men. There's a half-page ad for handcrafted tiki gods. There's another half-page ad for Tootsie Roll Fudge. And on the back, kids could order 100 toy soldiers for only $1.25. Meanwhile, just as Tommy's team exits the sunken forest, they come to a river that's too deep to cross on foot. So using their loop rays, the cadets rustle up some spotted spindle legs to carry them across the river. After successfully crossing the river, Tommy warns his team to steer clear of the bell blossom plants, because the spindle legs are allergic to the blossom. Nearing the Iron Valley, the rocks suddenly melt to form a wall, and before they can blast their way through, Lon's team drops Solonite onto the barrier, meaning that if Tommy uses his blaster, everything will explode. Lon's team then demands to know why Tommy sabotaged their equipment. With his team no longer trusting him and no way to prove his innocence, Tommy gets to work breaking through the barrier alone. So after tossing bell blossoms around the area, they cause the spindle legs to sneeze, blowing clear the Zolonite. With the Zolonite gone, Tommy uses his blaster to break through the barrier, allowing both teams to meet. Addressing Lon, Tommy explains how he saw him that night, sabotaging the flight controls. But when Lon explains that he was only repairing them, both of the boys realize someone is playing them against one another. Noticing that one of the cadets is missing, our heroes quickly deduce that he was responsible for the sabotage, and they rush to the Stone of Kashdan to stop him from stealing it. But as both teams arrive at the finish line, they're just in time to see a rocket ship blasting off with the stone. Using their portable video device, the cadets radio the ship to try and reason with the thief. But when the thief removes his student mask, they discover he's one of the most dangerous criminals at large, Chardu, of the planet Mercury. Setting aside their differences, Tommy and Lon decide to team up and bring this criminal to justice. informing their sergeant about the stolen stone, Tommy and Lon ask to use his spaceship to track down the criminal Chardu. But when the sergeant refuses their request, Lon zaps him with a mild stun ray, allowing the duo to take off, tracking Chardu's ship into space. Miles away on a distant planet, Chardu demonstrates the stone's power by holding it while his men fire rays at him. They then watch in disbelief as the rays bounce off of him. Later, when the two cadets find the thieves' hideout, they discover plans to hold up a local factory, and at that moment, Chardu and his men use the stone to start their robbery. Arriving just as Chardu and his men make their escape, Tommy and Lon track their ship to a hydrogen generator plant, and when they make for the exit after stealing hydrogen units, Tommy traps them with thermal grenades. Eventually putting out the flames, the thieves escape Tommy's trap and return to their ship, finding their ship surrounded by an electrical current coming from a nearby lighthouse. Chardu then orders his men to destroy the building, allowing them to reach their ship. As the thieves escape, Chardu explains that the stone is powered by sunlight, and once the sun sets, so does the stone's power. Arriving to find the lighthouse destroyed, Tommy searches the rubble for Lon, since Lon set the electrical trap. Fearing that Lon's body was swept out to sea, Tommy travels to meet with Lon's father, chief of the Planeteers. Then discussing their options, the two make plans to settle the score with Chardu. Meanwhile, on the planet Venus, Chardu explains his master plan. By stealing orbit and hydrogen units, he can launch 2 rockets into space. Then when they explode, they'll create 2 miniature suns, giving him sunshine forever and powering the stone of Kashdan. Minutes later, one of the 2 rockets launches into space, and with an explosion, the first sun is in orbit. Just as the second rocket lifts off, Tommy tomorrow arrives and holds Chardu at gunpoint. But before he can take the thief into custody, he's trapped by one of Chardu's men and taken prisoner. Bound and gagged, Tommy finds himself in a nearby shack, when suddenly Lon sneaks in and rescues him. With no time to explain how he survived, Lon tosses Tommy a spare ray gun, and the 2 cadets dash from the shack, ambushing the startled criminals. After eliminating the guards, the cadets concentrate their fire on Chardu, but the rays bounce off of his protective shield. Suddenly, one of the rays makes contact, and when another strikes him, Chardu drops the stone in defeat. Tommy then explains that they used a giant attracto ray to draw the hydrogen suns far into space, and with their rays now unable to reach the stone, it lost its power completely. Lon then explains that when the lighthouse fell, he was knocked into the sea, and after he washed up on the shore some distance away, he went to his father, who then told him of their plan. And so, with the Stone of Kashdan safely returned, both Tommy and Lon are awarded the Academy's Medal of Valor, and their sergeant presents them with bars of office, officially making them lieutenants. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive. If there's a particular issue or comic you'd like me to flip, drop it down in the comments section and I'll see if I can add it to my poll box. If you enjoy these types of videos, please show your support by subscribing to my channel. As always, please consider liking and feel free to share this video. And until next time, deep divers, thanks for watching.